I'm extremely lucky to be here with the extraordinary Maddie Godfrey here. Maddie is an internationally published author and has written her debut book, How to Be Held. She is also a slam poetry champion. How cool is she? I find Maddie to be inspirational for many reasons, including her book, How to Be Held. It focuses on gender politics, body positivity, trauma and acceptance, and I think that is incredible. My two favourite poems from you is If My Body Was a Poem and Labels Are for Just. They're amazing. Definitely read them. And thank you so much for letting me grill you.
Cool. I'm excited. Please grill me as much as you want to, forever.
Hang on, calm down. Are you ready to get started?
I'm so ready. I'm excited. Yes.
What has been your favourite piece of poetry to write? No, I'm just kind of throwing you under the bus here.
I think my favourite poem I've written is called Utopia Translates as No Place. It's in my book, but it's also on YouTube, and it's about, I was on a plane. I'd just been through a breakup, which is very sad, and I got on the plane, and I think I was flying home. I didn't want to be flying home, and I was thinking about if I could land that plane anywhere, where would I land the plane? So I kind of made up a place. I made up a place where everything was the way I wanted it to be, and yeah, just everything. It was like fictional, it's kind of like magical realism. Like there's a line that says like, I have a unicorn for a babysitter, and just silly things like that. But I think it's still my favourite because it's like, it never stops being a place I want to go. And like, even when I perform it now, and I wrote like maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago even, I perform it, I still feel quite emotional about it because I'm like, oh, I'd still go there.
Yeah.
Like I'd still want to do that and be that.
Yeah.
So I like it because it still matters, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, because even though like it was written a while ago, you can still go. Yeah, I still like to go there because like, because utopia for people can change sometimes, but it's cool that it just kind of stays the same.
Yeah.
Mine would be like dragons all over the place, but friendly dragons that won't burn you to pieces.
I like that. Yeah, some of mine is like the sky like rains coffee, like which would be my everything. What else? Every library book is full with, I don't even know. I don't remember lines. I have to like go through the whole thing, but like it's all about glitter and books and coffee and trees are invincible and the ground sprouts hot chips. Yeah, I'm vegetarian, so there's like a lot of like, and I was vegan when I wrote it, so there's like a lot of like vegan kind of like underlying messages in there. But yeah. And once I did it and people just started cheering halfway through, and it was very weird for me. I was like, you know, politicians are preschoolers and people just started like cheering. It was quite strange. But I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of like,
Why are you doing this?
But also thank you, but
Thank you, but what are you doing? Did you always know you wanted to be a poet, author, or not really?
I loved books. I always loved books. I always loved reading. I was that kid who read every book at a very young age, which I feel like you might relate to.
Definitely.
My parents are not writers. They're not creative people at all. My dad's a mathematician, and my mum is like, she's like an auditor, so I'm like an accountant, kind of mathy, numbersy management person. So they're both kind of like not creative types as such. My mum does write, but it's not like, she wouldn't list that as one of her things. So I was kind of the only person in my family who was really creative and really loved books, and because of that I didn't really know that it was going to be an option, but I knew that if it was a thing that I wanted to do always. I always wanted to write a book. I always thought I didn't know it would be poetry. Poetry kind of came out of nowhere. It surprised me.
I've always been a big writing person, big reading person, but I never imagined I'll be able to actually write a book. Like, I was like, yeah, writing? Wait, I can write a book?
I want to write a novel. I've not written a novel yet. I don't have the patience.
Yeah, I can write like a little thin book. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get the patience to write like a thick book, like a novel.
Yeah, but you've done that. I haven't done that bit yet. You know, you could teach me maybe.
Maybe. I probably fall asleep halfway through, but we can do it.
Naps. We can do naps.
Yeah, naps. And coffee.
Yes.
You have such amazing poetry and it has very deep, empowering meanings. Where did you get the inspiration for labels up the jars?
Oh.
So amazing.
Thank you. I'm really excited that you like that one. That's really sweet. So it's a true story, pretty much. It starts, I think the first line is my dad is a mathematician, which he actually is. He's always been a mathematician. And growing up, he wrote math books with me in them. So like he would write math books for kids to study. He'd be like, Madison uses so many nappies, and then like, so use that as an equation. It's pretty dorky. I love it a lot. So these kids studied my nappies. Labels up the jars. I wrote it, I think when I was in the UK, so I think I was away from my dad at the time, and I think I was missing him. And I was thinking about our growing up story, so I had a stay-at-home dad. He has a disability. And we grew up really close together because I'm an only child, so it was just me and him a lot of the time. I was like almost like his son. Like we watched, I loved Lara Croft, I loved Tomb Raider, I loved kind of like masculine kind of things. And I think at some point I kind of linked that into my experience of gender and maybe like of being queer, which I didn't realize for a very long time, until I was maybe 20, 21, which is quite late, I feel. I don't know, not for a lot of people, for me it felt late. And then thinking about labels of the jars, I think I was trying to use my experience with my dad to talk about that kind of issue and talk about my experience of gender and how my relationship with my dad contextualized a lot of that, and how I didn't really expect to become like a woman. I just thought I'd always be half boy, half girl, like because that's what he called me from when I was, when I was your age, when I was always a kid. I was always this half boy, half girl.
Yeah, like the Venn diagram part.
The Venn diagram.
Yeah, not exactly boy, not exactly girl, like the middle part where boy and girl.
Yeah, which is still like where I kind of sit, I think. I think I'm
Yeah.
like, I think I'm non-binary, so sometimes I feel like more one side, sometimes I feel more the other side, and
Yeah.
my pronouns change, so sometimes it's she and sometimes it's they, and like, I feel quite happy that I get to be in a community now where I get to like say stuff like this.
Yeah, it's really cool finding like that community where you're like, I can be myself.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's not like weird and it's not as scary. I'm very lucky, very grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely felt like that was one of my absolute favourite poems, and I definitely think, labels of the jars, we shouldn't put them on people.
Yes.
Like, I identify as bi, I might identify as a lesbian later on, I might identify as straight later on. We should just can labels for all.
And you can wake up one day as one thing and be something the next day, and it doesn't have to be everything you are, We can love who we love and be what we be and not be.
Exactly.
But yeah.
That is definitely what we need. People to be able to just go, you know what? So what? You're non-binary or you're lesbian, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
My dad is very proud of the poem as well. He always opens my book and shows people. He's like, this is my one.
This is what my daughter or son, whatever.
This is what he's his daughter, yeah.
This is what my child did.
Yeah, he's very proud. Got a very proud dad.
That's
And mom.
amazing.
Yeah, they're great.
They,
Supportive parents are the best.
yes, I know. Supportive parents. Why do you believe that people need to hear the message that you imbue into your poetry?
Why they need to hear it? I just want people to feel like they can tell their own stories. I don't know if that makes sense. Sometimes I feel like by telling my own stories in the way that I do, I hope that people will read it and feel like they can tell their own stories or their own like fun little experiences or less fun experiences. I hope that it makes people feel seen in some ways and maybe inspires them to be a little bit more soft or tender with themselves, like take care of themselves. I hope that people read my work or encounter my work and feel more comfortable in like their vulnerabilities and don't see their vulnerabilities as like weaknesses, but maybe as things that make them strong or make them resilient,
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
what I hope.
Well, when I was reading poetry, I was like, ooh, I might be able to write a poetry on this piece of poetry on this, so it's definitely working.
Yes.
It's definitely working.
I expect it now. I look forward to this.
Can you tell us a bit about your book for people who haven't read it? What ages or maturity level would you recommend? Who would love it? Till that.
So my book, How to Be Held, it is about, it's about so many things. I always struggle to say, like, what's it about? It's about, like you said, like tenderness and resilience and trauma, but also really about healing. I tried not to make a book that was all about suffering or trauma or hurt, and instead make it about the healing process. And I think Beyonce has a quote in Lemonade, which is about, like, if we're going to heal, then let it be glorious. And I remember thinking about that when I was writing it and wanting it to be a narrative of moving through trauma, not just staying in it. So yeah, I think I've had a lot of different people read it. I've had, like, teenage boys read it and love it, which is not an audience I thought or expected, but it's an audience that I love. And I think it's important that they read, feminist poetry. I've had older people, so kind of like elderly people love it, and then everyone in between, and people my age from like mid-20s love it. In terms of like younger ages, I think it's up to guardians and parents and that maturity. I think you seem pretty mature, like we talked about.
Yeah.
It's got some heavy themes, but it's not super graphic. Yeah.
So it really just depends on your maturity and
Yeah.
like what you like to read and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah, and there's some stuff in there that's, I think, appropriate for younger people. So I know that some under 10s that own my book, and their parents have just taken out a couple of pages or stuff like that because they want them to read the poetry, but maybe not. Maybe a couple of them. So as you get older, maybe you get another page. That could be
Yeah,
cool,
like,
right?
Just like as you get older, you take off like the sticky notes and go,
Yeah.
I'm reading this part now.
Yeah. But I also want it to be I also wanted to not speak down to young people. I think it very much can be a book for teenage girls. I think teenage girls I wish I had a book like this, or books that do exist when I was a teenage girl, because I think it would have maybe helped me feel less alone in that like scary experience of growing up, which sucks sometimes.
What has been your favourite venue to recite poetry to?
Oh.
No, I'm making you choose.
No. I feel like I need a good answer and I don't have one. I just so many in my brain. I really loved Glastonbury Festival because I couldn't believe I was there, and I felt very small and quite scared. I was quite nervous, anxious, and I think being nervous means that I cared so much. And I also liked feeling small in a way, because I think it made me feel powerful, that I was like this tiny person in this massive festival, and that like little Maddie from Australia or from Perth was able to go to, I think what's the biggest festival in the world, I think. So that was cool on that scale, but what I really love is like small, tiny, intimate venues with people I love, and when my family are there, when my mum and my dad are there, I feel the best I ever feel. So probably my book launch at the Bird last year, I think it was. So I launched my book at the Bird. Is like in Northbridge. It's like a bar, and the room was full of people I'd known some for years, some for weeks, some for almost my whole life. And my mum and my dad were there. My dad bought me a drink, and we filled the room, and I got an encore. And it wasn't that, but it was that there was all the people that I loved were there, and that meant more than anything. So it doesn't really matter where it is. I think it's more about the people who I love that are there and the way that I feel, and how comfortable I feel.
Yeah, I think it's not so much like the big fancy venues, although it is so cool that you went to that fair. That sounds
Yeah.
so cool. It's like the more of who's in the audience. Like if you have like your mom or your dad there, you're like, look there, they're watching me.
Yeah.
It just feels like just so nice and warm.
Yeah. Because it's a bit of both, right?
Yeah.
Like, the big places are cool, and I'm like super grateful and happy. But this when you got your mum there, like that's the best.
Yeah, when you have your parents there and family there and some of your best friends there, it's like, yay!
Yeah. And no matter what you do, like even if you mess up, like they don't care. They still
Exactly.
love you. Yeah. And there's fairy lights everywhere as well.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. And I wore a glittery shirt. So everything I wanted.
You do so many performances. Have you ever had like a really scary, intimidating audience, or have they been all pretty good and chill?
Oh, there's been some real scary ones. I used to do an event. The event's great. I used to do an event called So Far Sounds, which they do music and poetry gigs in a small room. So like someone's living room, or like someone's apartment, or like a hostel. So tiny rooms, and they cram people in, and they don't know who they're coming for. So then I get on stage, and I'm like, oh, hi, I'm a poet, and they're like, what's a poet? It was really awkward sometimes, but I found them quite scary because the room is quiet, and there's everyone sitting on the ground, and it feels like everything's amplified. And so because of that, they were like some of my favorite gigs, because like so intimate, but I've also found it quite scary because I could see everyone's faces, and they usually didn't expect a poet, so they thought they were going to see music. So I was always like, had to do really well and like surprise them in a good way.
Yeah, because they might be coming to see a music gig, and they'll be like, what's oh, and then it's like, oh no, I need to impress these people.
Yeah, absolutely. But I still get nervous whenever there's like a new crowd. So even
I think everyone does, because it's natural, I think, to get scared in the new crowd.
Yeah.
It's human nature.
Yeah.
Sticking with the being in public a lot thing, have you had any funny, embarrassing, awkward moments you would like to share? It's okay if you don't want to share them.
In general or on stage?
In general.
There is this weird thing I do. I don't know, like when I do a poem and people clap, I don't know how to receive like validation. I get really nervous. So it started many years ago, and it's kind of spiraled out of control. But I do like this like awkward dance whenever people are clapping, because I don't know what to do with my body if I'm not moving it. It's a lot more awkward than this. This was quite subtle, but because I'm standing up, it's like quite full on. And the more awkward I am, like the more intense the dancing gets. So you can like kind of tell how uncomfortable I feel by how much I'm dancing. Like I've done body rolls before. Like I don't really know where it comes from, and it's really, I think it's awkward in a good way, but it's definitely awkward. I don't know what to do when people clap. Like what are you meant to do? You just stand there and you're like, thanks. Like
I don't really know. Do you go like, thank you people, and walk off, or do you go like, hi, and you wave back, or do you do like a dance or something? And
sometimes I have to stay there because like if I'm doing like a 20-minute set and I'm doing like 5 or more poems, and I do a poem and then they clap, and then I just have to do another poem. And I'm like, thanks, like stop now, please stop clapping, because I don't know how to handle it.
Yeah, because then you do the dance and then go into another poetry.
It's so awkward. Yeah. I'm not very good at. I've gotten better at it. I used to be very bad at like accepting compliments and things like that. But I practiced, and now I say thank you, and I remember them for later. Sometimes I write in my phone. That's a thing that I think you should do as well. Or if you have a phone or a notebook. So if someone says something nice to me, instead of being like, no, I'm not good at what I do, I like write it down. So like later on I can read it when I'm not so like stressed. Yeah. And that way it reminds me that like people did like what I do, or people do like my work, or people did say something nice about me. Yeah.
When you're a super rich and famous author, what is something that you're just going to spend money on frivolously?
I probably just said when. I mean like next year, when I am, I'm joking, no, it's not happening anytime soon. Well, I buy you a purple house, and myself a purple house. Yeah, that's the real plan.
Purple.
What else? I would just love to fly everyone I love to me. I have a lot of very good friends in other countries, and I find that quite difficult because I want them all to like come to my house for dinner and meet my cat, right? Like so, honestly, like if I had the money, I would just fly everyone I love to a big house and have like a big holiday together with my cat, Sylvia. Yeah. That's so wholesome, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh.
That actually sounds like a good plan.
It's true though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good plan.
We read, and like it'd be catered as well. Like it'd be so much good food. It'd just be like potato every day.
Potato.
Yeah.
Potato is the best vegetable.
It is. Is it a vegetable or is it everything I eat? I don't know. Like, if it's a vegetable, I'm very healthy. I am very healthy.
I think it's a vegetable.
Okay. I believe you.
It's a vegetable. So now on to the speed questions.
Speed questions. All right. I'm ready.
Fire round.
Okay.
What are you writing at the moment?
I'm meant to be writing my PhD, which is in poetry, which I guess is pretty cool. But I'm also writing a lot of prose, which is part of it. Prose poems, so poems that are like chunks of text. So I'm writing those, and I'm also writing a lot of phone notes. Just having a lot of like ideas that are happening, which is cool.
You're going for a PhD.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds so cool.
So in 3 years, if I do it, I'll be Dr. Maddie Godfrey, which is, I feel way too young for that, and also not ready. No, once again, see, I'm not believing in myself. No, I am.
You can do it. You can do it.
I am doing it, and I'm gonna do it.
You can do it.
See?
What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Salted caramel, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
Also, like vegan salted caramel is like a specific one that I really like. I'm not vegan anymore, but vegan ice cream just still like gets me. The Ben and Jerry's brownie chunk one, which I had recently.
I love salted caramel so much.
Yeah, it's very good. Because you can eat a lot of it and not feel sick.
Yeah. I found like this one salted caramel ice cream where it has like veins of actual rich caramel, and it's so amazing.
I love it.
I'll have to introduce you to that.
You will, please.
Yes, I will. I'll tell you where it is. What's one of your favorite pieces of poetry you've written? I know, I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, speed questions are so hard. My favorite piece of poetry I've written. I wrote a poem like this year, which is not anywhere, but I'll send it to you. Which is called "Tender Forever," and there's a line which says like, "I hope you stay tender. I hope you stay tender forever," and also says something like, "I hope your healing feels less like forgetting and more like remembering without flinching. I hope this sadness makes you softer with strangers. I hope this hurt is proof of your capacity to care." And I kind of think of that all the time now, about like just tender forever and like what that means, and you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, recently that piece. Because I just think that little bit. I think that's like I put it on Facebook somewhere because I was like so proud of this. Yeah.
It actually sounds really cool. I have to check that poem.
I will send it to you.
How long did it take you to write your book?
I don't know, because it was just because I like such little bits and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was performing and writing since I was like 2019, and then the book came out when I was like I think 22. So that's kind of like, but I was mostly performing and writing, and then I submitted a manuscript to my publisher, and they accepted it, and then it took another year-ish to come out. So yeah, it's kind of just like a long process, and there wasn't a clear writing manuscript time. It just kind of, I wrote a lot, and then I edited it all into that. So yeah, I'm sure you could do it quicker.
No, it'll be too easy to get mine done. I probably won't. I'm a very slow writer. Slow. Who is your favourite or most inspirational author?
There's a poet from the US called Laura Mathis, who uses they, them pronouns, and they have a quote called "Radical softness as a weapon," which I wrote in every one of my books that I signed. And their work is pretty like around those ideas of tenderness and softness and vulnerability that I mentioned before. But I also am a nerd, and I still love Sylvia Plath a lot, who's a poet as well. And my favourite book I read when I was at high school was by James Baldwin, called Giovanni's Room, which most people don't expect. Yeah. And also Richard Sykin is my favourite book at the moment, his collection Crush, which is mostly gay love poems, which I really like.
I might have to check that book out.
I have to, yeah.
Do you prefer cats or dogs?
Cats. Sylvia is my cat, named after Sylvia Plath. She's the best cat in the whole world.
I might have to get over my despise for cats because I like you. We can still be friends.
She's the only cat though. Like you don't have to like any. Like she's different. every cat owner says that. I've
Yeah.
started to like dogs as well.
Yeah, dogs are really loyal.
I've been waking up at a house with the dog, and I just like I've seen that dog all the time. I just like love that dog now. So yeah, I feel torn a little bit, but still Sylvia. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you prefer ebooks or hard books?
Oh, hard books.
Yes.
Ebooks are disgusting.
I know.
I'm
It's
so
like-
sorry. That was so rude.
No. Go for it. Say it out loud.
I just like they're just gonna make bookshops shut down, and we need bookstores like as authors and readers, and like schools need books, and like we need also,
Yeah.
like but also ebooks are good for accessibility, and you can like make the print bigger and like change. I understand that ebooks are good and useful in many ways. I just don't want the smell of books to die out.
I want the smell, the feel. I need to feel it, otherwise it doesn't feel like a book.
Yeah,
And the smell.
and you can't like close it when you finish it when you're
I know,
angry.
it's so satisfying.
You can't like throw it across the room when your favorite character dies. Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise you smash the screen, you have to get a new thing.
I've never had a Kindle. I should have a Kindle. I travel a lot. I've been thinking about getting a Kindle, but every time I just feel like I'm betraying myself.
Because you're like big hard book fan,
Yeah.
you got to avoid Kindle.
Yeah. And I was for it.
It just feels like you're betraying yourself.
It does.
It really does. Where's your favorite place to ride?
At my house, I live alone, so that's really good for me. In bed, or on my couch, or sometimes at the local park at Hyde Park, or at my favourite cafe, which I go to way too often.
I've been getting so many people saying that they love to eat at a cafe
Yeah.
and ride at the same time. It's like, it's just satisfying.
My barista knows my order when I walk in, and I go there way too often.
Just like you walk in like usual, yep.
Yep, I've become one of those people.
That's okay, that's perfect. That way you don't have to bother ordering. You just walk up and they go, yep,
Yeah.
usual.
It's a soy cap and a mug every time.
Do you remember the first book you ever read or your favourite childhood book? Or
Fantastic Mr. Fox by Roald Dahl. My dad gave me all of the Roald Dahl books when I was probably too young to be reading them. But like I said, I was that kid. So I read, and the Roald Dahl books, I read them all before I think I was too young. Yeah, so young. And I went to school and was like, I read all of these books. The teacher didn't believe me. And then I gave her a synopsis of every single story because I was that kid. But yes, that was my first kind of literary exposure.
I love Roald Dahl.
Right?
He's such a good writer.
Yeah. I still feel proud saying that. I feel like my dad did really well.
He did.
Yeah. My parents did give me good books.
They got you into the best children's author first, and then they took you into more of it. They gave you the best reading stuff.
Yeah.
Best.
They were pretty good for non-writers. Yeah.
What's your biggest achievement so far? It can be anything.
Staying alive. Being this compassionate with myself for this long. Being 24 and having a really good relationship with my parents and with my body and with myself and with my friends. I think all the poetry stuff is cool, but it's not what I'm proudest of. I'm just proud that I am a very soft person and that I give other people opportunities to be soft. Yeah, I think that's the coolest thing.
Yeah, that's definitely cool.
What's your biggest achievement
In which thing?
in general?
We're probably gonna be here for an hour if you ask me that. I am indecisive.
What are you proud of today?
Today,
Yeah.
I am proud that I got over my fangirl moment in a small amount of time because I just had the hugest fangirl moment before we did this interview. I was just like, I saw you and I went, fangirl.
You did great. You seem very, very cool.
I just hide the fangirl, and then when we get into the library, I'm like, fangirl.
Well, you did great. You did very good. You shouldn't have to hide it.
Yeah, just let this fangirl go.
Let the fangirl out. Yeah.
Do you have any big goals for future and writing them really soon, or is it all?
Future goals. I just want to keep writing stuff I'm proud of. I think it's like the big thing right now. I think there will be another book in the next couple of years. I've got a couple of manuscripts and stuff, and I would like to challenge myself to write and publish more in short stories, which I publish a little bit but not a lot, and also like personal essays, which I kind of like. So just like challenge myself to like keep writing and maybe doing some new writing and just to still enjoy writing, and also to teach lots of kids how to write. I feel like that's also really cool.
Yeah. Everyone's on their phone, you know.
Yeah. You can write on your phone. You can do it.
I know, writing on pen paper and then just typing it up on keyboards.
I always have a notebook with me. I still have a notebook. Yeah.
This is so satisfying writing it and then typing and then feeling the keyboard screen.
It's very satisfying.
So satisfying. Do you have any advice for any young writers or young poets or
Yeah, I think that it's really important to give yourself space to be playful with your work. I think that when we become super serious and super strict with ourselves, that we lose some of like the fun of writing, and it stops being a thing that we like remember that we enjoy. So I always tell people to stay playful with their poems or their writing or their writing practice, and also to just try things. You know, it's okay to start a story and for it to not work out, and it's okay to, you know, write 10 poems and decide that you're not a poet. Like, I think that all the writing we does eventually feeds into something, and that writing itself is like a muscle, and the more that we practice it is the more strong or useful it gets. Yeah. And also read. Like, so many young writers are not reading. Don't know what, you obviously read. I know that you read.
so much?
Yeah, and it shows. Yeah. I think young writers and poets should just be reading as much as they can and read work that's different to theirs and also similar to theirs. And yeah, just try to swallow lots of words.
Amazing advice. I think every young writer and poet should hear that. Thank you so much for letting me interview you.
Thank you for having me. You're so cool.
Thank you. I hope I can be as awesome as you.
You already are. I promise.
Really?
Yeah. I wish I had your hair. Yeah. You're already way too cool.
Thank you. So make sure to like and share this video so we can share how extraordinary Maddie Godfrey is.
Thank you.